In 2026, the women who are making quiet, intentional moves that can really change their lives without posting about it, without giving step-by-step updates, are the women who are playing this game of life to win. Not everyone needs to know your next move. Not everyone deserves a front row seat on your journey to success. So stay focused, stay silent, and let the results of who you're becoming in 2026 speak for itself. So hey, hello, welcome back to the channel. I am Cherrelle, and on this channel, we're all about closing the gap between who we are and who we're becoming through identity-based personal development. And in today's video, I'm breaking down why keeping your plans to yourself will help you build power, protect your focus, and position you to win. The true mindset of a queen. So take a second to subscribe and let's get into it. So I consider myself a pretty private person. At this point in my life, you really have to be someone that I trust to tell you anything about what I have going on in my own little world. When you share too much about your goals, your ideas, your dreams with people who lack vision and discipline of their own, then you end up just hearing all about their doubts and fears, essentially talking you out of yours. So while I was thinking about the best way to explain the power of moving in silence, I couldn't help but to think about the game of chess and all the similarities between positioning yourself to win when you're in a season of becoming the woman that you desire to be and not oversharing your every move. The game demands focus, timing, and intelligent decisions. Every move can really either make or break your entire strategy. And even if you don't know anything about the game, you still understand how the queen is one of the most powerful pieces on the board. She can move in any direction, forward, backwards, sideways, diagonally. She can move across any number of squares as far as she wants, as long as nothing is standing in her way. In real life, that kind of freedom is a symbol of personal ability. It really reflects how much you can do when you have skill, confidence, and the room to act. So in the game, this freedom makes the queen powerful, but this power also makes her a target. So your opponent is always looking for a chance to take your queen out, because once she's gone, you lose your strongest weapon. So strategically, the queen is often held back until the moment is right. She quietly watches the board, she calculates, and then she strikes. And this is the reality for so many women who are working on becoming the best version of themselves. So you're smart, you're capable, you've got brilliant ideas, and I'm gonna add that you're beautiful, which adds a whole nother layer that we can discuss in another video. Moving fast, dropping hints about what you're thinking about doing might feel powerful in the moment, but it can also leave you exposed and drained. The more I thought about the queen's role in chess, the more I understood this version of myself that I'm working on becoming. She's not powerful simply because she can do more than others. She's powerful because she understands when to act, when to hold her position, and when to shift the entire direction of her life. So chess in so many ways really does mirror the mindset required to position yourself for what you truly want in life. Every move, every decision, every sacrifice on the board reflects something about growth, timing, discipline, and power. And especially as a woman, when you're building something real, evolving into someone that's solid, and protecting the life that you're designing, chess holds many quiet truths that can change the way that you approach your goals. So here are 15 lessons from the game that will continue to shape how I approach my journey to becoming the woman that I desire to be. So many women are taught to basically make themselves smaller. Speak softer, do less, hold back so that other people feel comfortable. That habit can feel normal. It often gets labeled as being polite, but it slowly trains you to disconnect from your own strength. In chess, the queen does not limit where she can move because the other player might feel threatened. Her role is clear and she carries it with quiet confidence. That doesn't make her aggressive or careless. It means that she understands her value and she doesn't apologize for it. So in real life, becoming the woman that you want to be requires letting go of the need to be overly pleasing. And don't confuse this with being rude or dismissive. It means being honest about your abilities, your standards, and your boundaries. You can speak clearly without being unkind. You can lead without overexerting your power. And you can take up space without making others feel small or powerless. In chess, moving the queen too early is almost always a mistake. Even though she has the most freedom on the board, stepping out before the rest of the pieces are in place can shift the focus to her too soon. So the other player will notice and instantly start chasing her around the board, forcing you to react instead of lead. And the same idea applies to life. So when you are becoming the woman that you want to be, be, there's a temptation to reveal too much too soon. Your plans, your growth, your vision. And sometimes it feels like that kind of openness is just creating space for people to understand you and to respect everything that you're working on. But what often happens is the opposite. When you show too much too soon, before someone has earned that access to your space, you invite unwanted opinions, pressure, and sometimes even disrespect. So moving in silence and allowing yourself the space to take as many little steps as you need to create this space for this woman that you're becoming allows you to really stay in control of what you're working on. That's how you protect your progress, your peace, and your power. A boundary is a clear line that tells people what you will accept and what you will not accept. It matters because it protects your time, your energy, and your peace of mind. So in chess, every piece has a place and each of them move within a certain limit. The queen, however, can do more than others, but even she doesn't move without thinking about what she's stepping into. So she has to be aware of the board, her surroundings, and the risk of overreaching. So when every piece stays where it's meant to be, the board remains balanced. When something crosses a boundary too far without purpose, it becomes exposed. The smart player doesn't just look at where a piece can go, they also calculate if it should go there and what could happen next. The same idea applies to how you protect yourself in real life. So boundaries let people know what you will allow and what you won't allow. This protects your energy, your time, your peace of mind. Something that I've been learning over the last couple of years is that you treat people how to treat you by how you treat yourself, what you allow and what you will no longer tolerate. And as you continue to grow into the woman that you want to be, having boundaries is not a sign of being difficult. It's a sign that you take yourself seriously. And boundaries are not meant to push people away. They are meant to bring the right people closer to you and keeping the wrong ones from getting too far out of line. Now, the queen, she has the most range. She's one of the most powerful pieces on the board. But if she moves alone, she can really risk becoming trapped or blocked. So her strength reaches its full value when other pieces are working with her. The smaller pieces don't get as much attention, but they do open paths, they block threats, and they hold space for the queen so that she doesn't have to do everything by herself. And in life, you might have the vision, the skill, and the capacity to lead, but those things become harder when you try to manage carrying everything alone. Capability without support often leads to burnout. So becoming the woman that you desire to be means learning how to build the right kind of help around you. Friendships, mentors, or people who just respect your space and understand your goals. It also includes structure. That means having things in place that keep you steady. A savings account, routines, or habits to help you reduce chaos. So you are responsible for your growth, but you don't have to move through every challenge without help. And I truly mean help from people and resources that you can trust to have your best interests at heart. In chess, a move is not always about what works right now. Sometimes the best moves create space or open an opportunity later down the line. And good players think past the next step because a quick win can feel good, but if it can leave you exposed or blocks your progress later, then it's not worth it. The right strategy in chess shows up in how well you plan for what's coming and not how you just react to what's happening now. And in life, the same approach will help you avoid choices that feel easy in the moment but may create problems for you later down the line. So looking at where your actions lead and not just how they make you feel today. Will this move me forward? Will I have to recover from this later on? Will this make things harder next month or next year? Will this choice support the woman that I'm becoming, or am I just doing it to meet other people's expectations? An example of this may look like walking away from a situation that feels familiar, but it keeps you stuck. So not every move, again, will feel good right away, but when you think with the end in mind, you protect the version of yourself that you're growing into. In chess, not every move matters equally. You can spend time chasing minor wins or reacting to every move that your opponent makes and still end up losing. Because it's not about doing more, it's about knowing which move carries the most weight. So the player who understands this doesn't get caught up in trying to respond to everything that's happening in the game. She focuses her energy on what actually changes the direction of the game. And in life, this shows up in how you spend your time, your energy, and your attention. Not everything on your list deserves the same effort. Some tasks, relationships, or habits keep you busy, but they don't help you grow. So the 80-20 rule helps you notice the difference. It teaches you to pay attention to what's really moving your life forward. Becoming the woman that you desire to be means learning to focus on what works and not not just what fills your day or what makes you look busy. You protect your growth by doing more of what matters and letting go of what doesn't. So if this video already has you thinking, comment, I'm moving differently in 2026 if you are going to make any of these changes. Or if you're really moving in silence, then you can just give the video a thumbs up. In chess, every move has a cost. And if you don't think about that cost, the next few turns can become harder than what they need to be. This is what makes the game hard to rush. You have to slow down and quietly ask yourself what you're willing to let go of in order to gain something else. And sometimes it's worth it, other times it can set you back. But when you see the trade-off clearly, you can at least say it was your decision and not something that you were pushed into doing. The same is true in real life. So extra work might mean less rest. Peace in your life might require walking away from people who keep you in conflict. Growth may ask you to let go of comfort, but whatever you choose, when you choose it on purpose and not from guilt, pressure, or fear, you stop feeling trapped by the outcome. It's like you knew what you were walking into and you made that choice that matched what mattered most in that moment. The woman that you're becoming needs you to know what you're trading, why you're trading it, and what you expect this trade to lead to. In chess, the smartest players do not rush into action. They take their time to set up the board. Before they attack, they focus on building a stronger position one move at a time. They use small steps to create space, protect key pieces, and prepare for the right moment. So that early part of the game might look quiet or simple or boring, but that's where the outcome is starting to take shape. Most of the real work happens before anything big even looks like it's happening. And players who move too fast often overlook the importance of that early work. And the players who focus on making too many moves too fast, they miss their chance to really control the game. So patience in real life works the same way. It's not about sitting still or waiting for something to happen, but it is about doing the work that will set you up for the results you want, even when no one is watching. That might look like practicing a habit every day, staying consistent with your schedule, again, even when it gets boring, or even taking the time to learn a new skill, even if it means that it will take years before it makes a difference in your life. You will not always get the attention or the recognition in this part, but it is the foundation for the woman that you're becoming. Not every weakness looked that serious at first, so a space left open or a piece placed slightly out of position may not seem like a big deal in the beginning, but your opponent sees it and is watching. A smart player will test that weak spot once, and if nothing happens, they'll just keep coming back, and over time, what looked small really starts to shape the game. Good players know how to spot these problems early and adjust it before it gets too late to fix them. In life, you can experience the same thing. So a problem that you don't address the first time often turns into something that you keep seeing again and again. And this can really show up in just about any kind of relationship. Maybe someone crosses a line and you don't say anything. Maybe you keep agreeing to things that leave you feeling overwhelmed. The more it happens, the more it becomes a pattern. And patterns are harder to break than isolated moments. So becoming the woman that you desire to be means learning to pay attention to what keeps repeating. Fixing something early keeps it from growing into something that will damage your peace, your time, or your progress. So the earlier that you act, the more control you keep over the direction that you're going. In chess, waiting too long can cost you the entire game. A player might hold back, looking for the perfect setup, trying to avoid a risk or a mistake, but while they wait, the other player keeps moving. And slowly, they gain control of more space and take lead of the game. And in those kind of games, you don't get points for being extra careful. You win by staying in motion and learning as you go. And life works in a similar way. Perfection feels safe, but often leads to delays that leave you stuck. So you may keep waiting for the right moment, the right mindset, or the right version of yourself before you start, but progress does not wait for perfect conditions. The woman that you're becoming needs you to act while you're still trying to figure things out. That doesn't mean rushing to make things happen. It just means doing what you can with what you already have and then learning from there. Taking a small step forward will always teach you more than just sitting still and planning and waiting and perfecting an idea. In chess, even the best players make mistakes. One wrong move can shift the entire game, but the smartest players do not fall apart. So staying calm, learning what went wrong, and staying in the game can still lead to a win. In real life, mistakes happen the same way. You may say something that you regret, trust the wrong person, lesson, spend way more time in a situation than you ever needed to, or fall short on a goal that you've set. The moment that you realize that you've made a mistake may feel heavy, but it does not have to define your story. One bad day, one wrong turn, one failed attempt is not the full picture. As you already know, the woman that you're becoming will face hard lessons and unexpected turns. What matters the most is how you respond. When you slow down, stay silent, and reset, you can then move forward with more wisdom. In chess, most players begin with the opening, which is a planned set of moves to get the game going. So these openings are practiced and studied, and they give structure to the early part of the game. But once the other player starts making unexpected moves, that plan then has to shift. If a player tries to force the original plan to work even when the board has changed, they usually end up in trouble later down the road. So in life, as you already know, things rarely unfold exactly how we expected. You may make a plan for your day, for your goals, for your future, and then life will start lifing and giving you something completely different than what you expected. This change may come through people, timing, or situations that are just outside of your control. So the woman that you're becoming must be able to adjust without losing direction. That means letting go of the version of the plan that no longer fits and making room for a new path that will still lead to the growth that you desire. And have no shame in changing your mind, pivoting, starting again, or just finding another way. Plans are tools. You are not locked into them. What makes you consistent is choosing what works in real time based on what your life actually needs. Chess is a game built on strict rules. No one can break these rules, but a good player will find room to think creatively. So limits do not block strategy. They force you to think more clearly, more focused, and make better use of what you already have. So the players who succeed are the ones who know how to work within the structure and still make strong, unexpected moves. The rules of the game stay the same, but the way that you play within them can really change everything. And real life works the same way. You may not always have full freedom. You may have to work with limited time, money, support, or energy. Those limits do not mean that you're stuck. They mean that you have to move more carefully and use what you have with purpose. The woman that you're becoming will not always get to start with the ideal conditions, but even with the right limits, you can still build. You can still improve. You can still take meaningful steps forward. When you make the most of your current situation, you grow stronger, and that strength opens more options in the future. The result of the game is always tied to the choices that you've made. If you made many mistakes, it's going to show. If you played the game well, that will show too. The outcome of the game will always reflect the steps that you have taken. And that level of honesty can feel uncomfortable at times, but it also helps you learn how to improve. So you grow more when you stop blaming what's happened around you and you start looking at what you could have done differently. And in life, things are not always fair. You may deal with a lot of things that set you back that are outside of your control. But even in the middle of those things, your choices will still carry weight. When you hold yourself accountable, you stop giving all your power away to your past, your pain, or other people's decision. You become honest about what needs to change and what you're willing to do to make that change. So the woman that you're becoming does not wait to be rescued. She takes ownership of her growth and her healing. And that's how you build a life that reflects who you really are, one decision at a time. So the last lesson that chess can teach you is that one mistake often starts with a moment of distraction. The game rewards players who stay focused, who think ahead, and who keep track of every part of the board, and not just the part that feels right in that moment. So it doesn't take much for something small to undo everything that you have built carefully, and life works the exact same way. We just do not have the unlimited energy to give to everything and everyone. So what you focus on each day truly does shape the direction of your future. If you always focus on your problems, distractions, or other people's business, then that leaves you little energy to focus on you. So the woman that you're becoming really needs your attention to be a daily investment. That means checking in with your health, protecting your peace, finishing what you start, and being honest about what deserves your focus. Every time you give focus to something that helps you grow, you build a life that starts to work for you and not against you. So every lesson, From boundaries to timing to patience, teaches you that real power is not in being seen, but being clear about what's making your next move your best move. The woman that you're becoming does not need to prove anything. She just needs to focus on protecting everything she's building. Silence is not the absence of strength. It is the strategy that gives your next move the space to grow with meaning. So thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that you found it interesting enough to start making some changes in your life. When you're ready to become the woman that you desire to be and build the brand to match her, there are always resources listed down below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will catch you in my next video.